Hello, and welcome to an intro to Anthro with two humans. I'm human number one, John McCray.
And I'm human number two, John Lehr.
And this is the podcast where we reassess what it means to be human. And the title of this episode is Give Your Hands a Hand, a Slow Clap for an Underappreciated Appendage.
Is your hand underappreciated? I mean, I guess so. Maybe we just take it for granted.
Right. I think we take it for granted.
Gotcha.
And for example, in an essay in the book, The Hand, an Organ of the Mind,
Ooh.
the neuropsychologist Nicholas Holmes says that next to the sides of our noses, we probably look at our hands more than any other part of our bodies.
The sides of... Oh, because we can see it in our... Yes! God, you're right. Well, okay. Yeah, it's true. That is true. You see your hands all the time.
Right. And in the introduction to that book, Jesse Prince, who's a philosopher who specializes in the philosophy of psychology, says, quote, in societies that wear clothing to cover the body, the hand is second only to the face in being characteristically unclothed. When only limited flesh is visible, we see features and fingers. we're basically just faces and features, or features and fingers. That's all we are. And yet, even though we look at them all the time, most people don't think about how important our hands were to human evolution. Most people, when you ask them what makes humans human, they'll say things like the big brain will come up, or walking upright on two legs.
Yep.
But they'll leave out the hands.
Yeah, sometimes people say the opposable thumb. That's about as close as you get to the hand.
Right, but there are other animals that have opposable thumbs.
Yeah.
And they're not doing a podcast right now.
No, they are not.
So I'll tell you, the hand is kind of like the Jan Brady of human evolution. Looked over. But when it comes to human evolution, our hands played an equally important role in making us who we are today.
Yeah. And we're not just talking about masturbation.
No. Let me put it, if human evolution was a band, then walking upright would be the lead singer.
Okay.
Like kind of prancing around out in front.
Right.
Strutting around.
Freddie Mercury.
Right. The big brain would be the lead guitar, kind of mysterious and aloof,
Right. A little, the wizard.
Yeah. But our hands would be there in the background, out of the spotlight, holding it together, playing the bass and drums.
Yes. And as the father of a drummer, I have learned a lot about the rhythm section and what you can do with it and how important it is.
They're the unsung heroes. They really
are. Yep, they really are.
So in other words, if human evolution were like Led Zeppelin,
yes,
you wouldn't have human evolution with just Jimmy Page and Robert Plant.
No, absolutely not. And they knew it because when Bonham died, that was it. The band was over.
I know. It was never the same.
Nope. I was at Oak Park Mall when I heard that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Devastating.
But there are some anthropologists who argue that evolution and development of our hands and brains went basically hand in hand. Meaning the big brains, meaning the big brains allowed us to imagine new things for our hands to do.
Yeah.
But the fact that our hands were always out there like probing around, exploring, putting things in their mouths, also encouraged our brains to grow and come up with those more complex things.
Which is still today. Like I get ideas when I'm doing things with my hands. Like if I'm washing dishes, that's when I do my best thinking. When my hands are busy.
Yeah, that's it. Like your hands are still feeding your brain some information.
Do you think which is the more important invention for human evolution, the wheel or masturbation?
I think masturbation probably, because you don't need roads to masturbate.
Do you think?
Masturbation can be done anywhere.
Do you think human early man? I mean, human erectus for sure. Do
Yeah.
you think they were masturbating all the time?
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. What else would you do? What else would
Right.
you do?
Once you figure out that it works, just go for it.
That's probably. I'm surprised we got so far. You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah, why would we evolve past that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like, God help us if what I've been doing with my hands have like shaped our brain in any way. You know what I mean? But anyway, there was a positive feedback loop, is what they're saying, between the hands and the brain.
Okay.
They were kind of leading each other on. So our hands were kind of like that new employee that goes out and does, finishes a task immediately and then comes back and is like,
Yes.
give me something else. Give me something else. And the brain, being the supervisor, has to go like, Jesus Christ, take it easy. Take it easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Frank Wilson, in his book, The Hand, notes that the anthropologist Sherwood Washburn even argued that the human brain as we know it developed after our hands had become more skilled and dexterous.
Really?
Yeah.
The hand led the way.
Right.
The bass guitarist finally got a solo.
Right. He was like Paul McCartney. You know what I mean? Like the hand was like Paul McCartney doing all that. He played the bass, but he was still like responsible for all the intricate work and all that.
Right.
But to give you an idea of how important our hands are to being human, in 1758, in the book De l'Esprit, or On the Mind, the French philosopher Claude Helvetius said, if nature, instead of hands and flexible fingers, had terminated our wrist with the hoof of a horse, mankind would doubtless have been totally destitute of art, habitation, and defense against other animals.
Proven in the cartoon BoJack Horseman.
Oh, is that? I never watched it.
Yeah, he's a horse.
Yeah.
And he has trouble with the hooves. Yeah. I mean, God, can you imagine trying to masturbate with hooves? Forget about it.
Or smoke cigarettes or drink beer out of a can.
Oh, play video games. Forget it. Swipe left.
So Helvetius, let's try to swipe left. So Helvetius had a point. He was basically saying, yeah, humans, you think you're such big shots with your big brains and walking around on two legs. But if you didn't have those hands down at the end of your arms, you wouldn't be jack shit. You know what I mean? It's like I paraphrase, of course.
Yeah. Helvetius? His name was Helvetius?
Helvetius, Helvetius.
Good, that's a great name. God,
yeah.
Helvetius.
First name Claude Helvetius.
Claude Helvetius. Fuck. Watch out.
So, but before we go any further, seriously, I just want to say, we're talking today about hands from an evolutionary standpoint and from a species standpoint. And I know that there are people who may have been born without hands or may have lost their hands in combat or in accidents. And they've learned to adapt by using their feet or mouths or robotic arms and hands. And it's extraordinary. And I want to eventually do an episode just on human adaptation, how we adapt to adversity.
Especially now, things are really jumping.
Right. So I just want to say for today, I'm not saying anything. For today's discussion, we're talking about the importance of hands and the use of hands from an evolutionary species standpoint.
Okay. Well said.
So now we're going to celebrate our hands, which again, like you said, people often take it for granted. You don't really think about your hands because they're so steadfast.
I've thought more about my hands in the past 9 minutes of this podcast than I have in, I don't know, years.
Can you say, when was the last time you thought about your hands?
I can't think of the last time I thought about my hands.
I was trying to think of our hands it's kind of like a rom-com, where like the main character suddenly realizes that character down in the mail room is like the one that they should be with, the one that's been like
the sweet meat, the meat sweet or whatever it's called. Yes.
So I want you to picture today's episode as a Dean Martin celebrity roast for the hands.
Oh, okay.
And if you can imagine all the famous comedians up on the dais and Dick Cavett for some reason, And there are a pair of hands sitting up there next to the podium, all embarrassed about the attention that
Right.
they're getting. And the comedians are all going to come up. We're going to come up and we're going to tell stories about the hands and why the hands are so important and what the hands mean to us. Quick question. Have you ever done a roast or been roasted?
No, I have not. I don't enjoy them really either. I get bored with them really quickly.
Yeah.
I know they're very popular, and but I don't know, making fun of somebody and it's all fun and I don't know. It just seems it's not my scene.
The only people that I feel in the history of humankind who have ever been able to do it are Don Rickles and Jeffrey Ross.
Yes.
The only people who understand it. Like some people come up and they're,
yeah. Well, what about the dog? The dog that's the insult, the dog insult the dog. What the fuck is that called?
Oh, is it? I don't know. I don't know.
God.
It's a hand puppet? It's a hand puppet?
It's a hand puppet. It's perfect for our show.
I'll have to post him later. I'll have to post him.
Okay.
But anyway, it's, and then at the end, everybody kind of like, they say how wonderful the person was and how much they've done for the world. And then everything's supposed to be kind of like, okay, it was all in good fun or whatever.
Triumph.
Is that what it is?
Insulting dog. Sorry. That is it.
I've heard about that. I haven't seen it though. Does he do roast? Does he do roast?
He probably has. He's so good.
Really?
There's a YouTube on him. I'm coming to you from Chicago, and there's a famous place called the Wiener Circle. I know you know well.
Oh yeah.
In Chicago, where they insult the people who work there, insult the customers. That's like it's a Chicago. And there's a YouTube video of Triumph, the dog coming to Wiener Circle.
Oh, really?
Insult off. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
You would always go there when you're drunk.
Yes.
At the end of the night, and they just don't have time for anything. They
Nothing.
just give me the order and get the hell out of here.
Yes. And the greatest thing about it is you can come in at the back if you know, and you can just yell your order over the tops of everybody else, and they'll take your order and you cut in front of everybody. And my son my son and I were in Chicago, and I took him there and I yelled my order from the back, and he was looking at me like, "What, Dad?" And they were like, they took it and we walked out.
I love a Chicago hot dog. They always put the the peppers on it, right?
Yeah, and the pickle and the tomatoes.
Oh yeah, very good. But anyway, John, hopefully at the end of this episode, you and our listeners will have a different appreciation for our hand.
I already do. I'm aware. My awareness of my hand has gone up, up, up.
Yeah, and they're not just down there playing here's a church, here's the steeple all day. You know what I mean? They're doing a lot.
Mine are a little dry right now. I wish I had some lotion nearby.
You're in Chicago,
it's cold as hell. Yeah, it's 9 degrees right now.
Still here in Albuquerque, it's weird. Like it's mid-January and we're still in t-shirts in the middle of the day.
End of the world.
But John, like any celebrity roast, we're going to have to take a commercial break. We're not sponsored by Kraft Foods like Dean Martin was, but we now have a Patreon page.
Yes, we have a Patreon page. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's a website where people can support artists and podcasts and things like that. So we have a great group of listeners, and so we're offering, some extras just for the members of our Patreon page. We're going to have like monthly Zooms with just our listeners, which will be great.
It'll be like study sessions. It'll be like
study sessions. That's what we're calling them. Yeah. So, I'll give you an example here. So you can come in at different levels to support us. I don't know if you knew that, John.
No, I actually don't know what Patreon is. Yeah. Just like I didn't know what Facebook was until we started doing this.
Patreon. So it's like patron, but there's an E in there.
Patreon.
Patreon. And so basically you can for $3 a month, you can be a part of our bachelor's undergraduate degree of
Right,
Intro to
right.
Anthro, where you'll get a personal thank you. You'll be welcome to the monthly gatherings online. There's a $5 a month that gives you a little bit more. We're going to do some cooking shows.
Oh yeah, yeah. We'll send out like we do with our 20th episodes. We'll send them out, and then we can
Yeah.
all beforehand.
Yes.
We can make the food, and then we'll all try it. We'll all eat it. Yeah.
And then for the $10, which is our doctoral degree, you get a personal thank you, access to the monthly discussion group, and a historic recipe that you can make at home, and an official Intro to Anthro t-shirt.
Wow.
And a free pair of Watson and Company socks. For $10 a month, I mean, my God.
We basically redress you. The only people that do that more than we do is like a bowling alley. It gives you a free pair of shoes.
We feed you and we dress you,
just like your mothers. Just like your
mothers. But really, it's a way for us to raise a little funds, because we want to do. Now that we're building our audience and we're over 10,000 downloads, we're thinking about doing, or we're not thinking about it. We are going to do some remote shows.
Right. So in some different, I'm excited about the Patreon because we have great listeners. Like when people write in, it's hilarious, and there's so much knowledge that they have. And to me, this is a way, like these study sessions will be a way that we can react and interact with each other in real time.
Yeah.
And I'll bring some things about what's going on in the archaeology world or anthropology world. I subscribe to like the news feeds, so we can all just, discuss about that. But it's a way for us all to build a community of our listeners.
We've noticed so much back and forth between the listeners and us that we think it's time to make this move. Again, it's Patreon, Patreon.com. And then you just search for an Intro to Anthro with two humans, and it'll come up. And you can join for free, by the way.
Yeah.
You can join for free as well. So come on down to the community center.
Consider us to be like your academic advisors for this program. So
we've stayed with the conceit all the way through it.
Yeah.
The college conceit runs right through everything we do.
I'm really excited because, to do the live events in different parts of the country, I think will be fun.
Yeah.
And then I would love us sometime to do like tours where we rent a tour bus and all of our listeners climb onto that thing, and we go out and, look at ruins or go down to a haunted location.
Oh, that'd be great.
And then, I even imagine by my imagination going crazy. I see it's like, on PBS when they do the tours down the Danube. I see like the Intro the Anthro barge going down the Danube and all.
I'll do the tour on that one because I've been down the Danube.
Oh yeah, you have been down the Danube.
It's goddamn
great. You know it. And then ultimately, our goal is to organize the first annual Yeti Love Convention, which is based on the erotic coloring book of the same name. If you see episode 13, you Sasquatch my back, I'll Sasquatch yours. And then we also, I kind of feel like Yeti or Bigfoot is kind of like any other animal. It just wants tummy rubs and treats. So we're going to all of us dress up like Sasquatches, and just kind of run around somewhere. But the thing is, and then also we got to do the Grover S. Krantz Memorial Endowment for Bigfoot scholarship.
You got that right. So go on down to the Patreon page. $3 a month. $3, $5, or $10 a month, whatever you can afford. And it's free if you can't afford anything.
Right.
We want you to be a part of regardless.
And the show is still free.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right. Thanks, everybody. And now we're back at the Friars Club. At the Friars Club.
Placement. You fit that right in there. I'm blown away.
Really?
Yeah.
The celebrity roast of the human hand from the Friar. Have you been to the Friars Club?
Never
really
been.
Is it still there?
I don't know.
Really?
No. One of our listeners will tell us on our Patreon page.
Wait, we'll open up with the money from the Patreon page. We'll open up our own clubhouse. You can be like the Magic House, be like the Bigfoot Nest, in like West Hollywood or something. So, John, I want to begin with a quote from John Napier, who was an anthropologist and primatologist, who he was one of the foremost experts on the human hands. And in 1980, Napier wrote a book called Hands.
Jesus.
Which has become somewhat of a classic in hand literature.
It better be. If your title is Hands, you better nail it.
Here it is. I'm going to plug it. If you're into hands, then most likely you have a copy of Napier's Hands on your on your nightstand.
Somebody has to cover the topic.
Yeah,
from the pinky to the thumb and back again.
It's like the Hobbit. It's like the Hobbit.
That's just the right hand. We haven't even gotten to
that. His book has been kind of like it's been like a combination Bible, Homer's Iliad, and A.A. Big Book for me for the last month, because when I've been lost, I've gone back to Napier's Hands for guidance. And at the beginning of his book, Napier says, quote, "I remember quite vividly the occasion when the penny first dropped, and I discovered that aesthetically, the hand was the most beautiful part of the human body."
What? More than the ass?
I was going to say, not the hands, not the legs, not a set of boobs. It's the hands.
I disagree with Napier on this one. I think it's the ass. How could something that poops out excrement look so damn good?
Wow. Yeah. That answers why I was going to ask you what you consider to be the most beautiful part of the body, and now you've answered it.
No, I like the butt. I like all of it. All of it. I don't really look at hands that much. I guess, yeah.
See that? You don't pay attention to them.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I like I like girly stuff, painted nails on men and women now. But I guess that's about all I get to with the hands until you put a ring on it.
Do you ever go for a mani-pedi or anything?
I have gone just recently. I went to my first one and I endorse it. It is so great. Yes. Have you done it?
What, both of them? Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, the hand, mani-pedi, both of them. The feet. And the hand. Oh, love it.
The feet. I love going to like a reflexology place and just putting your feet in a tub of hot water.
Fantastic.
You pay $100 just to have put your feet in there. You could do that at home, I guess, but
that's what we're going to spend our Patreon money on. Weekly mani and pedis.
You start seeing us with these beautiful nails when we come on. We should do it before and after.
When you see us with beautiful nails, it's time to pull the plug on your subscription.
Cancel immediately. All right. So then Napier says, quote, "The hand at rest is beautiful in its tranquility, but it is infinitely more appealing in the flow of action." He then makes the connection between the hand and the mind, and he says, when the hand is at rest, the face is at rest. But a lively hand is the product of a lively mind. The involvement of the hand can be seen in the face, which is itself a sort of mirror to the mind.
Okay. Yeah.
So then he says, one of the saddest sights there is to watch is the hands of the mentally disturbed. When the brain is empty, the hands are still.
Ooh.
So there's that connection that we have.
Yeah.
Again, going back, like we were saying, that the back and forth between the hands and the brain, that what's going on in the brain is being manifested in the hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
And George Bridgman, in his 1920 art book called The Book of 100 Hands, it sounds like a kung fu movie or something.
And why just 100? Like, where did he get that number?
Yeah, I don't know. It just it just sounded good.
Like, all right, I finished my book to the publisher. What are you going to call it? Hands. I'm sorry, I just did a Google. All right. 10,000 hands. No, that's a movie already.
He's like,
An
well,
hour
how many
later.
hands do you have? A book of 100 hands. How many do you have in there? 14.
Nobody will count them. Let's go for it.
Just repeat them afterwards. But Bridgman says in 1920, he says the face is well schooled to self control as a rule. Rarely is the hand so trained, and responding unconsciously to the mental states, the hand may reveal what the face would conceal.
Wow.
The hand
So
may
if I'm
reveal.
playing poker with somebody, I should be looking at their hands.
Right, exactly. Because if they're nervous, then you'll see their hands jittering about them.
I'll still lose. I'm terrible at poker.
Yeah, I get just you like looking around at everybody's hands.
That's not the game for me.
What are your hands doing right now? I see you doing
one's
something
holding a pen,
right,
and one's sitting just on my lap.
Let me see it again. Hold it out there. Let me see if it's shaking or if there's something you're not telling me. Okay. Yeah, it seems pretty calm.
I'm pretty relaxed.
Are you calm? So, how did we end up having these wonderful instruments on the end of our arms? And so, John, we have to go all the way back to when we were primates.
Whoa.
And Kenneth Feder and Michael Park in the book Human Antiquity define a primate as a large-brained arboreal mammal with stereoscopic color vision and grasping hands and often feet.
Wait a minute. Primates have color vision, all of them?
I think a lot of them have some sort of color vision.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to guess back then we just had clumps of fur glued to our stumps.
Well, I mean, it was by arboreal, we mean that they all lived in trees at the time.
Right. Of course, I knew what arboreal means.
Yeah. I just say. And one thing you realize when you live in a tree, or if you ever get drunk and climb up a flagpole or the side of a building, is you have to
climb up a what was that?
A rope one time.
A swing. It was a tire swing.
I was manifesting my primate heritage.
You were using your hands to scurry up that thing.
And one thing that humans, our ancestral, our primate ancestor, and me that day, realizes that you have to hold on. You have to hold on. You need prehensile hands that could grasp.
But that night you were like the guy who wrote Hands. When there's nothing in the brain, there's nothing in the hands. Right. But yet you had nothing in the brain, but your hands were doing all kinds of stuff.
I know. There was no communication back. My brain had been like, damn it, hands, I'm not answering the phone anymore. Do whatever you want. I don't care anymore. So that's what happens. That connection. And honestly, my brain was saying, like, I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be doing this.
My brain was saying the same thing. You shouldn't be doing that.
The hands. It's a equal. It's 50-50, hands and brain.
Yep.
And William Haviland says that along with prehensile hands, these early arboreal primates also had an acute sense of touch and binocular vision.
Yeah.
So again, these are all things that you need to jump between branches.
Yes. You've got to have two eyes to know. You got to have depth perception.
Right.
You got to be able to tell how far away that branch is.
Yeah. Go outside, climb a tree, close one eye, and then leap over to another branch and see how that works.
Report back.
Yeah. And that's where all the money from Patreon
lawsuit. Oh man, right out of the gate.
But as humans, we've retained all these characteristics from the prehistoric primates. And primates came around, I think they go all the way back to like 55 million years ago. And then, I mean, true apes didn't come around until like 5 to 23 million years ago, I think. So there was like
little things,
right,
small things jumping around.
Right. But they still had like those prehensile hands that could grasp.
Right.
You'll see them like it's like if you look at lemurs or tarsiers or monkeys. Those are kind of like small monkeys. Those are
Those lemurs scare the hell out of me. Oh, I had a job once, a writing job with a
yeah.
very famous actress,
Mm-hmm.
and she had lemurs. She had a cage of lemurs on her property. Did I ever tell you this? I don't think I did.
No. Like,
And
how?
it was Kirstie Alley, because she passed away sadly. But she had these
Lemurs.
and she loved them. But I was just like, do not. Like, she was going to open the cage. I was like, do not open that cage, because these things, rip your faces off. That's what they do.
It has like I don't know. Lemurs are kind of smaller. How big was it? Do you remember?
It was like a size of a possum, maybe.
Oh god,
or like a raccoon.
Yeah,
maybe smaller than a raccoon, not girthy. Like if you cross a raccoon with a squirrel, you'll get a lemur.
Oh my god!
I think their eyes were like orange or something. Now that
yeah. But did she pet them or something, or what did she? She let them out, and they would like.
I don't know. She didn't take them out because she could tell that I was just like, please don't take the lemurs out.
I saw something when I was doing the research for this called a siamang, which is like a giant gibbon. It's like a 3-foot tall gibbon with
Jesus,
with a 5-foot arm span.
Oh my god!
And that thing just terrified me looking at the video.
If that thing wanted to kill you, you're dead. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just that's it. God.
That's how
By the way, I just want to say Kirstie Alley, great lady. Really great. Yeah. She was so lovely to work with.
I can imagine she opens that thing out and the lemurs just come out and attack you.
They just attack me. They go right for me.
She's just like, they've never done that before. They've never done that before.
There's something about you. They all say after your face is ripped off. My God, that's never happened before.
Did you do something, John? Did you look them in the eye?
You look them in the eye?
There's no way not to.
They're orange.
All right, so some early primates developed a type of locomotion called brachiation, and that's where you swing from branch to branch.
What is it? What's the term?
Brachiation. I think it comes from brachus, which is the Latin word for arm.
Oh man, always with the Latin. Jesus.
But to brachiate, like efficiently, you have to have long fingers, long forearms. You still need to have the prehensile hands to kind of grab on.
You got to grab onto it.
And you have to have mobile shoulder joints, obviously.
Oh, so, my shoulders hurt just thinking about it. How many branches do you think you could swing?
I don't know. People still do it like at the monkey bars at a playground. People could still do it, but we've lost our long fingers and our long forearms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're not as efficient.
I bet I could do 6. I could do 6, yeah. And then I'd be like, oh, God. This hurts.
Next time you're in town, there's a grade school over here.
All right, we'll go over there.
We'll put that on the Patreon. That'll be worth
that'll be special supplementary.
Just both of us dislocate our shoulders and can't work our phones to get help.
Oh, God.
But anyway, when these brachiating primates came down on the ground, I mean, they could walk around on their 2 legs for a little bit, but you need like a gibbon needs to hold its arms up in the air to bounce.
Yeah, if you're 3 feet tall and 5-foot arms, what are you going to do with them? You can't like tie them in a knot and put it on your head.
Yeah. So another way that they developed, and you still see this in chimpanzees and apes, is they developed knuckle walking. So chimps and apes still have the long arms, which come from brachiators or a proto-brachiator. But they'll walk on the back of their knuckles. Okay. Because, again, they can walk a little bit on 2 legs, but it's not very efficient for them because they're so top-heavy.
Yeah.
So all of these ways of locomotion, if you notice, our hands were occupied.
Right.
Like we didn't have any free.
We weren't upright yet.
Right, right. We needed them to get around. You might
Right.
be able to hold on maybe with one hand to eat something, but you couldn't really do much with your hands.
Yeah, because it was
Uh,
holding you up. You'd
right,
fall flat on your face.
right, right. And
Wow.
Napier sums it up by saying, "quote The living great apes whose hands are classed as true hands never had a chance to deploy them as people have done. When arboreal, the ape hand was preoccupied with climbing, maintaining balance, and food collecting." And when on the ground, the ape hands are still subordinated to the needs of locomotion.
Wow. So there was just a few individuals who were born with just enough uprightness
Right.
that they were able to succeed better. This is over hundreds of
Yeah.
thousands of years,
Yeah.
and that they started, and so that started a gene pool of people
Right.
who could. Wow, that is just hard. It's hard to fathom. It really is.
I know I mean, the mutation, the earliest upright bipedal primate we know of now is Sahelanthropus chadensis, which was found in Chad. And it was a little primate that was walking upright. And that was 7 million years ago, we think.
Wow.
So the mutation probably happened before that and probably happened in different places over millions of years.
Yeah.
But what it did is by walking upright, it freed those hands.
Yes. And what did we do with it? Hit each other right away.
Masturbate and hit each other.
Masturbate and then take a rock and smack that guy, because that's what we are.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I've seen 2001. Come on.
Yeah, they make it seem like it happened overnight, but it was
Yeah.
actually millions of years.
Yeah.
And obviously, tool use preceded tool making. I mean, we
Yeah.
are probably using tools, but they think that tool making, the first one we think was doing it, that we know for certain, was a primate called Homo habilis, which means
Yes.
handyman.
Oh, Homo habilis. Where was Homo habilis discovered?
I think in Oldowan, in the Oldowan Valley, I think it is, or Olduvai Valley in East Africa somewhere.
Oh, love it.
And that was like 1.6 to 2.4 million years ago.
Okay.
They now think that maybe the Australopithecus, like
Lucy?
that line was maybe using tools at least 3.4 million years ago. We don't know yet if they were actually making the tools.
And what were the first tools? Do we know, or we don't?
Well, they were probably just like choppers, like they call it a pebble chopper, where they would just knock out. Remember, we made tools.
Yes.
And you remember how hard that was.
Hard as hell. It was exhausting, and I hurt myself.
I know. They were probably
That's hard.
Smashing your fingers and cutting your hands all the time. Millions of years of that before you finally realize how to do it right.
Oh, God. The bloody cuticles. Another reason to get a mani-pedi.
Yeah. Keep an eye out, everybody. If one of us ends up with really nice nails, cancel it. And Napier notes that our ancestors developed two types of grips. One was the precision grip, which is when we hold something between our thumb and fingertips.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're both demonstrating that.
And the other is the power grip,
Oh,
which is when we hold an object between the fingers and the palm, using the thumb as a support to press it.
That's the killing grip. That's the kill grip.
And Napier says precision and power grips in their fullest expression are the hallmarks of humankind.
Boy. It does make sense. I mean, it's so interesting. Like when my daughter was young, she would find these little tiny things. Like we'd be playing in the yard, and she'd look down and find this little tiny thing and pick it up with her little tiny fingers.
Really?
Yeah. It was so crazy.
Are you handy? Do you consider yourself to be handy?
I'm like a B-. My dad was handy, and then I just picked up some of the stuff. But I built a tree house.
Yeah, that was amazing.
extravagant one where the
Yeah.
windows and the whole thing, fireman's
You were
pole.
renting it out, right, on Airbnb?
Yeah, it's in a few movies and commercials. There's LA for you. You build a
As you see that,
treehouse.
human number 2 built it. Human number 2 built it.
But that was by far the height of my skills. That took everything I had. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not. My dad was good at like finishing cabinet. He was like a cabinet guy and that kind of stuff.
Really?
Yeah, that no way I could do
Yeah.
any of that kind of stuff.
I consider myself to be more a man of the mind. I don't. I get really impatient. I hate doing things
This is right up our alley. You're the brain and I'm the hands.
Together.
Yeah.
Together we make half a human. We still need somebody to be our legs. So you've mentioned it already, the opposability of our thumbs.
Yeah.
And opposability, according to Feder and Park, they say that it's the ability to touch the thumb to the tips of the other digits.
Yeah.
So you can do that.
Yeah. Unless you're fucked up and the highway patrol like put that on the tip of your nose and you're like, I can't. What?
I can do this. Do that to them. Do the old smoking a joint. But as we mentioned, a lot of people will say walking upright, big brains, and opposable thumbs, which isn't exactly wrong. But we're not the only animals that have opposable thumbs. According to the International Fund for Animal Welfare, chimps, bonobos, gorillas, baboons, macaques, gibbons all have opposable thumbs.
Yeah, but go ahead. I was going to interrupt. Any non-primates have opposable thumbs?
Well, koalas.
Possums, that's a marsupial.
Possums have them.
Possums, God.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Chameleons, and then something called a waxy monkey tree frog.
Okay, I'm going nowhere near that thing. Well, I held a koala once, and you think they're cute, cuddly things. Yeah. They are not. They are stinky as hell, and they grab onto you so hard.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that when you were in Australia for that reality show?
This is when I was hosting I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. ABC. Prime time.
So what did they told you to like hold it or something, or was it?
Yeah,
was it on camera,
for a press thing or a photo. Yeah. I can't remember. And they were like, "Would you like? Let's get one of John holding it." And out there in Australia, they probably just caught it like 5 minutes ago. Those people, that whole continent just wants to kill you. And Australians will admit to that. They're like, yeah.
Did it interact with you or anything, or just kind of like
no? It barely moved. It was very sloth-like. I just remember the smell. It really smelled.
I was reading about some primate that has, I think it's called, I can't remember where it is, but it's called I can't find it. Is it a loris? I think it's a loris that has a poisonous gland on its elbow.
Jesus.
So it will lick its elbow, get the poison into its mouth, and that's what it uses to kill its prey. I'll have to look that up.
It'll spit at them, and
I don't know.
Bite with it.
I just can't imagine.
So weird. There's like a little thing that squirts poison on their elbows.
Yeah, I'll find out more if it. Don't quote me on it yet.
Australia, that was like the platypus. I always thought the platypus was a cute thing. Hell no. They're poisonous.
Really?
They have these spurs on their back legs that have poison.
Wow.
Even everything.
The most amazing thing about that show you did was when Alana Stewart stuck her face in that aquarium with a possum.
That was insane. I could not believe she did that.
It was like, I really admire her for that. I wouldn't do that. I'd be like, hell no, I'm off the show.
She was cool, actually.
Yeah.
I liked her.
But what's unique about the human thumb is that it's not just opposable, but it's longer in proportion to our fingers than the thumb and fingers of our other primate relatives. So Napier notes that the shortest thumbs and the longest forefingers are found in the great apes, particularly the orangutan and And contrariwise, the longest thumbs and shortest forefingers are exhibited by people.
Longest thumbs and shortest. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. Okay.
So if you look at a photo of a chimp's thumbs or a gorilla's thumbs or an orangutan's thumbs, you'll see that their thumb is really short compared to the length of its fingers. Um, which if you ever get in a confrontation with a chimp, try to like get in a thumb wrestling or something, and then
Yeah. Their thumbs suck, is what you're saying. Their thumbs are like they're nowhere near our thumbs.
Right. It's creepy how small their thumbs are. Eventually he'll get bored and like just yank your arms off.
Yeah. Don't go near those things.
And the anthropologist Ethel Appenfels hypothesized in 1955 that the reason they have those small thumbs is that's left over from when they used to brachiate or swing through the trees.
Oh, I see.
It was a quick release.
Quick release. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. It's like a carbiner with the thing you...
A carabiner. A carabiner. Yeah.
Like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But over time, through natural selection, human fingers shortened and human thumbs lengthened, which allowed us to perform these very fine, precise grips with our opposable thumbs.
And how did that help us? Did that help us in, I guess, in hunting? I mean, everything was about food and sex, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
The thing is, like, if you notice, a chimp can hold a grape, for example, but it's not the same as we do because the thumb's not long enough. So it has to hold it against the forefinger.
So over hundreds of thousands of years, we're able to eat more because we can hold it. It's just easier.
Yeah, more precise. Like you were saying, your daughter was picking up stuff very precision out in the backyard. We were able to use tools, use sticks more precisely because our thumbs were longer and we could touch them to each of the fingers.
Yeah. You don't see an orangutan holding like with the pincher movement. They always hold it with the grip thing. It's the power grip. So that's interesting. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So Napier says, quote, "The movement of the thumb underlies all the skilled procedures of which the hand is capable. One cannot emphasize enough the importance of our finger-thumb opposition for human emergence from a relatively undistinguished primate background." So he's saying not the big brain, not walking upright. It's the precision grip, which is crucial to get us to where we are today. I mean, they all played a part,
of course, but it makes sense because if it is all about sex and food, particularly food, that flexibility is more important than the brain. And okay.
And that's what allowed us to, make tools. It allowed us, it basically got us everything we have now, is that precision grip, that opposability of our thumbs.
Picking up that stick and sticking it in an ant hole and then licking the ants off of it. And now we've got AI. It
is. I mean, it's we
finally built a tool that will destroy us. If you believe any sci-fi movie you've ever seen.
Right.
Yeah.
And just to show you how important people have always thought the thumb was, our thumb, Sir Isaac Newton once said, quote, "In the absence of any other proof, the thumb alone would convince me of God's existence."
Wow. God. How did that guy, Isaac Newton, have time to do all the things he did?
I don't know. He sounds like kind of just a drag to be around too. You read about him. He's like, he was always thinking of that. He was no fun. I don't think he had any fun.
Didn't he just discover ultraviolet? And the spectrum?
He did that thing where in his dorm room, he covered all the windows and poked a little hole in there and then separated the light beam.
Yeah.
And then reversed the crystal and put them back together. Which you think he'd be cool. You think he'd be in there like smoking weed or something.
Yeah.
He wasn't. Yeah.
No, he's not playing D&D or anything.
No.
Oh.
So John, we've talked about all these things that we've maintained from our primate ancestors. So we also maintain that sensitive touch that those early primates had.
Yes.
And Napier says that our hands and our eyes are our principal source of contact with the outside world.
Okay.
And he even says that, in a sense, our sense of touch is even better because our sense of touch can work. It's superior to vision because touch can work in darkness and it can work around corners, which I thought was
Oh. And it's very fine. Like you can feel stuff you can't
yeah,
even see.
yeah,
Like if you're cleaning your kitchen counter, okay, and you think it's clean, but then you rub your fingers along, you're like,
right,
somebody
exactly,
was messing with honey and didn't deal with it properly.
yeah.
Now I got to do it.
Yeah, it looks fine. It looks
It looks
fine.
fine, but it ain't fine.
Yeah. And in the book, The Hand and Organ of the Mind, psychologist Harry Farmer and neuropsychologist Manos Sakiris say that it is through the hands that we can most directly reach out to others. The importance of touch and social interaction can be seen in metaphors such as a soft touch, deeply
Mm.
touched, and the common touch.
Oh.
So, do you like to be touched? Are you a toucher or do you touchy?
Yeah, with permission, certain. Yeah, I mean, I'm a hugger. I don't mind
Yeah.
people hugging or shaking hands. I'm not really. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah. Are you a
Yeah.
do you go up to people and touch them, or do you?
Yeah, strangers. I'll go right up to them and rub noses.
Just grab their face.
Eskimo kiss.
Just grab their face and rub their nose.
I mean, I love people. That's one of the reasons I'm doing this show. I love watching people. It's just I can't. I'm addicted to it. I can't stop.
Right.
It just fascinates me.
This brings up handshakes.
Yes.
And handshakes apparently historically were a way to show that you didn't have a weapon when you met somebody new.
Oh, okay.
Like you extend the hand. And that's also the in China when they do the fist palm salute, like you see in Kung Fu.
Yes.
That was also a way to show somebody that I don't have a weapon.
You could hide it as something in the fist.
You still have a fist.
Yeah. And you could hide a hypodermic needle in there or something.
And Farmer and Sakiris, they start their essay with a quote from Helen Keller. And I don't know. Did your kids learn about Helen Keller in school? Do people still teach that? That was like really.
Know. That is a good question. I'm sure they know about her because they know everything. Because they've got access to every piece of information humankind has. But I don't know. I don't know if they taught that.
Remember when we were in the 60s and 70s, they would always have, every year we'd watch The Miracle Worker with Helen Keller. And for people who don't know Helen Keller, she was an educator and a writer who was blind and deaf and taught herself to speak and to read and to write.
Yeah.
And in 1903,
with the help of her teacher.
With the help, Sullivan, something Sullivan,
because she kept swapping that milk off the table.
Yeah. Where there was a scene where she was pumping water. That was like the big breakthrough, like a well. I mean, she'd spell out water to her. But I don't know if people still talk about Helen or teach Helen Keller.
Yeah,
it was like a way to be about overcoming obstacles and perseverance and things.
Yeah.
But in her 1903 autobiography, The Story of My Life, Helen Keller wrote about her friendship with Mark Twain. Samuel Clemens. They were good friends. They would exchange letters. They met. She said that Twain had read some of his stories to her with her putting her fingers on his lips so she could understand them.
That's crazy. How can that work?
I know.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
But Helen Keller said about Mark Twain, she said, quote, "I can feel the twinkle of his eye in his handshake." Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And she had other quotes in her autobiography. She has other quotes about handshakes. She said, "The hands of those I meet are dumbly eloquent to me. The touch of some hands is an impertinence. I have met people so empty of joy that when I clasped their frosty fingertips, it seemed as if I were shaking hands with a northeast storm.
Whoa.
So,
God, that Helen was perceptive.
I know, all through the handshake.
It is
Uh,
true. You can get a lot from a handshake.
yeah,
You know, if they're like flimsy or floppily, or if they go too strong,
yeah, yeah,
it is interesting.
yeah. You can. I think there's something again with the connection to the mind.
Yes,
I think it's coming out of the hands and the handshake. How someone really. I love handshakes myself.
me
I
too.
love.
I mean, I do something different, you know, just to I get more information. What I do is when I walk up to them, I lick my hand and then shake their hand. And you can get a lot out of people when you do that.
You're like that Lawrence. You should lick your elbow and then give it to him.
That's right. Just lick it and then shake before they can even think about it.
What do you think your handshake says about you, though? Are you conscious of it, or are you?
I don't know. No, I'm not. I try. I hope it's a warm. You know. I don't know.
Yeah. You know that there's one handshake that will remain with me my entire life, and it was when we went to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
You got tickets
Yes.
for us to go to the Super Bowl.
God. 50-yard line. Right? Was
No,
it?
we were up in the nosebleeds, but
I know,
it
but
was
weren't
still.
we at the 50? I feel
Oh
like
yeah,
we
we
were
were
at center
close.
field.
We were close. Yeah, we got
Not
the whole
at the
thing.
50-yard line. No.
But
Oh, that
Phil
was great.
Sims, the quarterback, you had done
Yeah.
some work with him, and he
Yes, I
gave
had done a
you
Geico commercial with him, and
right,
he got us the tickets.
right, right. And I remember we had to go down to meet him to get the tickets. Like he had
Yes.
the physical tickets.
Yes.
And I'll always remember when I shook hands with him, it his hand just enveloped mine. It was like
Yes.
a catcher's mitt.
Yeah.
Just my hand just disappeared. It was like
Yeah.
pushing it into a big loaf of like bread dough or something. It just enveloped my hand. You
We were
know?
staying at the hotel where all the players stayed,
Yeah.
and all these athletes were, and they were all gigantic, just gigantic people.
Enormous.
Enormous.
Yeah. but I'll never forget that handshake from Phil
Yeah.
Sims. It just really it was just disappeared. I was
Yeah.
like, this man is enormous and his hands are enormous.
Yeah.
I'll also take the moment here to say that Phil Sims was the greatest quarterback of all time.
We sent him some Kansas City barbecue as a thank you. That was your idea.
Yeah.
And I wonder if he ever got it.
I don't know.
Because getting his address was hard.
Yeah. I'm sure it was like some, assistant in the office or whatever.
Yeah.
Probably they were like, just tell him that you got it and we'll take it home. By the way, I gave my coworkers a bunch of Gates barbecue sauce for Christmas.
Yum.
Another quick note about touch. Farmer and Zakiri say that a touch from a waiter or waitress has been shown to lead to higher tips in restaurants, an effect known as the Midas touch.
Wow.
So
the waitress kind of touches your shoulder or something. You like her more and tip more. Or him. Is it like a flirtatious thing? Is it?
It's something, I think it's maybe that, but there's something social or emotional about when they touch you with their hand. You have a bigger connection with them.
Yeah, of course.
You have yeah.
I always tip 20% of the gross of the total.
Oh, with the tax and everything.
Yeah, 20% of that. And then that's it. But that's all I do that always, whether they're good, bad, indifferent, whatever. I just do it because I worked in a restaurant.
Yeah.
If everybody worked in a restaurant, everybody in the world worked in a restaurant as a waiter for a week, I think we'd have a different world.
It'd definitely be more understanding and people would be patient with it.
Empathy. Yeah. And also you realize, why would you be mean to the person who has private access to your food?
Yeah.
You do not want to do that. I've seen some things.
That just
Oh,
happened to me recently over the holidays. We were at a restaurant, and one of the people with us complained about the food, and
oh,
the others of us were like, "Don't say anything about
yeah.
don't say anything about the food." And he went on, complained about it. And then afterwards, they bring out some, well, since you were so happy with the food, we want to give you these free desserts. And I was
No,
like, I don't want to
no,
eat that thing. I
no.
don't.
There's a loogie in there. There's a loogie in
God
there.
only knows what's in that
Yeah.
thing. You know?
Give it to the idiot who complained.
Yeah. I'm like, don't eat that thing.
I
Why
worked
would
in
you?
the kitchen, man. I
I
saw
know.
stuff. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
saw this guy take his pants off and put his balls in a salad. I'm not kidding. He swished it
Wow.
around.
Wow.
His name was Popeye because he talked like this.
Oh, no,
And he goes, John. I look over, his pants are down and his
Oh, my
balls
God.
are in the salad. Because they made
But,
the waitress cry.
yeah. You see, that's why you don't complain at a restaurant. That
No,
is why you don't
no.
complain.
That's
Just
that's as stupid as putting a bumper sticker that you're in Mensa on your car.
yeah,
Those are
yeah. That everybody that sees you like cut across 3 lanes without signaling and be like, look at the genius. Look at the genius. Another function of hands, John, they're important for communication. And Jesse Prince says that some linguists and anthropologists have argued that the use of language may have evolved out of hand gestures.
For sure. Let's go get the woolly mammoth. You point with your finger right there.
Right. Even before we had the ability, the mutation that allowed us to speak.
Yes.
We probably had vocalizations and hand gestures that allowed us to communicate with each other.
Amazing.
And again, Napier says, in moderation, gesture enhances the effectiveness of speech. Indeed, speech without gesture is sterile and tedious. On the other hand, arms that are waved like the sails of a demented windmill are nothing but an irritating distraction.
Wait, aren't we saying that podcasts are boring then?
Yeah,
because
we don't get to
do anything with our hands.
Have you noticed I've been trying to use my hands more, like bringing them up? Do you use your hands a lot when you speak?
Yes, I definitely do. Yeah.
How about gestures? You use a lot of gestures?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. What do you think?
I'm trying to think about, I feel like I use my hands a lot, but
I do too.
I don't know. Maybe it's the performance of it or something, being on stage or.
Yeah.
Do you ever give people the finger when you're driving?
I've done it a couple of times. I try not to do it because they'll kill you in LA.
It's the equivalent of complaining to about your food.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I try to play it cool as much as possible, but sometimes traffic will just get you and somebody will do something that scares you. Usually you're angry because you're scared that they almost killed you.
Right. And you give the finger, the finger that.
Yeah. But not very often. My wife does it all the time. Jennifer, she flips people off and honks. Oh my God, all the time.
That's kind of like, that's going back to our primate, our like gesture, pre-verbal communication, our vocalizations, grunts, and hand gestures.
Yeah.
In the Middle Ages, the middle finger was known as digitus imputicus, which meant the shameless or lewd finger.
Wow. So the middle finger goes all the way back to the Middle Ages?
Yeah. Or, I mean, they were at least calling it that.
Yeah.
And Napier says that there's debate as to why it was called that. But he says possibly because the longest, and this is Napier, quote, being the longest digit, it is ideally disposed to carry out sexual caresses of the female genitals or indelicate scratching operations.
Well, what? That doesn't make it. That doesn't sully it.
No, but
it should be kept in a velvet case.
Yeah, just a one-fingered velvet glove.
I mean,
around.
it's the longest finger, so I think that what they're trying to say is people put it up their butts.
Well, I found an article called "Where Do Finger Names Come From" by Kinsey Cooperrider.
Uh-huh.
And Cooperrider makes the argument that the middle finger, when extended and flanked on either side, is said to resemble a penis and testicles.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So that makes
Yeah.
more sense to me. That
Yeah.
makes more sense to
I
me.
mean, yeah.
So it was like you flashing the penis at somebody as an insult.
Okay.
You know
I
what I
buy
mean?
that
Yeah,
1000%.
me too. But you have to be careful when you use hand gestures in different cultures because they mean different things to different people. In the book Kiss, Bow, or Shake Hands, Terry Morrison and Wayne Conaway list some of the different meanings hand gestures have.
Okay.
For example, there's a gesture called the fig, which is what we do, like, I got your nose.
Uh-huh. Like when you put your thumb between your forefinger and your
Right,
middle finger.
right.
Like just a little
And
tip of it there.
and that means good luck in Brazil,
Okay.
but it's like the middle finger everywhere else in South America and Central
Oh,
America.
Jesus. Really? So the Brazilians, those Portuguese, they got to go different.
Yeah, good luck, but be careful. We're playing I got your nose down in, uh, Honduras or something. Could
Yeah.
get you like punched in the face.
Yeah. You'll
Uh,
get their nose, but you'll get your ass kicked.
yeah. All I did was take his nose. In the article, 14 common hand gestures that are rude in other countries, Laura Kahn says that the thumbs up gesture that means okay in America
Yeah.
is basically the middle finger in the Arab world, Greece, Iran, Russia, and Sardinia.
Oh,
So that,
God. Wow. Greece.
yeah, Greece too. It's like the thumbs up. In Vietnam, the cross fingers, which we do for good luck, like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
hoping good luck, are thought to resemble female genitalia and are therefore considered an insult in Vietnam.
What?
Yeah.
First of all, why is female genitalia an insult?
Right.
When
Right.
it's God's gift. And secondly, crossing fingers, I don't see that at all.
I know. That's like a middle finger for people in Vietnam.
Okay.
Also, when you wave someone to come to you, like we do, like this.
Yeah, where your index finger is curling, pointing them. Yeah.
The palm up. That's considered insulting in most places in the world.
Really?
Yeah. So so be careful if you like try to wave a waiter over or someone like come here.
Mm-hmm.
Don't use the one finger with the palm up.
Yeah. That's kind of a offensive thing anyway. Even here.
Yeah.
Come here. That's like something you would do to a bad parent would do to a child.
Yeah. The rock and roll sign with the devil's horns.
Yeah.
In Italy, that's the same as like a fuck you.
Really?
Finger.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
And that's the same with the two fingers.
Peace sign?
But the peace sign is with the palm out.
Yes.
But when you turn it around in England and have the palm in and give the two fingers, it's like an up yours or a fuck you as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
God, good to know.
Yeah. It's funny. My wife just got back from Cleveland where she was visiting her parents. And in the assisted living facility where they live, in the hallway, they have a picture of Churchill. I mean, there's a picture of like John F. Kennedy, Churchill, the Beatles, different things kind of make people think about, oh, isn't this nice?
Right.
Your life. Think about your life. And they have a picture of Churchill, and Churchill was known for giving the peace sign or the victory sign.
Victory
the
sign,
with the palm out.
Yeah.
But in this particular photo, he's got it turned around.
Oh, so he's giving the FU.
He's giving the FU. And so Mary sent me a text, and she was like, what do you make of this? And I'm like, I looked at the photo. I'm like, I think Churchill's given the up yours to everybody on their way to the dining hall. You know what I mean?
That's great.
I think Churchill was probably making a joke at the time, even. He was probably telling the photographer up here, like he's so famous for the victory. I think he was probably switching it around.
Well, he was probably in his cups a bit too. He was known to be a big drinker.
Yeah, he woke up, right? He wouldn't get out of bed until like 1 p.m. every day.
Right.
And he'd just lay there in his silk robe and drink
And then get in
scotch
the
and
bath. He'd sit in the
yeah.
bathtub for hours. How did he get anything done?
I don't know. I don't know. I think he had an assistant that did every. She'd have to shove papers under the door to him. So, and then in Greece, there's something called the mutsa, and the mutsa is when you hold your hand up to somebody's face with the fingers outstretched.
Yes.
And this is like the biggest insult you can give to somebody in Greece.
Yeah. Look at the hand.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like tell it to the hand, only with the fingers outstretched.
Spread out like a
Yeah. Yeah.
starfish. Yeah. That's I agree. That is weird. It makes me that's a weird gesture.
Yeah.
I think that's a good one.
And apparently that goes all the way back to the 4th century AD.
Really?
The mutsa. They've been using that as an insult in Greece since the 4th century.
Wow.
Real quick, John, I want to talk about the hand and art. Ellen Appenfels says that in creative arts, the hand speaks, and one senses the tremendous power of the hand to convey human emotions. But the hand is notoriously hard to draw. I don't know.
Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And George Bridgman in the book of 100 Hands said the artist Van Dyck could not draw the hand of a laborer, and the painter Millet could not draw a gentleman's hand. There was just something seemed off about them. And the reason Alice Reed says she's a digital artist says that, for one thing, the hand can get into so many positions.
Right.
It's very hard.
Right.
And it can express so many different emotions. Like we were saying, it's a direct connection to the brain. So you can't have happy hands and a tragic face, for example.
Have you ever heard of that book, Drawing on the Right Side of Your Brain or something like that? That one of the exercises is drawing the hand.
Really?
Yeah. Right out of the gate.
Oh,
you draw a hand before you read the book, and then you draw a hand after you read the book.
Really?
And it's amazing.
I don't know. It's just the proportions or something.
Yeah.
To get, when you see a well-drawn hand, it moves you. But if you see, like, a lot of times people will be like, just basically just try to hide the hand, like put them in mittens or something in the drawing. Even AI, I don't know if it still does, but when AI first came out, remember, it had trouble drawing hands, and it would add like extra fingers onto the hands.
Yeah,
like you would.
Well, AI is crazy. Don't tell him I said that, but he's crazy.
And Reed says that to learn how to draw hands, artists have to like spend years drawing them over and over and over again.
My daughter can draw hands. She's an artist. She can draw hands really well. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. But you notice that cartoon figures usually have 4 fingers. They don't have 5 fingers.
Right.
And one of the reasons that one theory is that back in the day when they had to animate those frame by frame, it was just too damn hard and took too long to try to draw those fingers.
Yeah.
So they would just like cut out one of those fingers and just draw 3 of them. Yeah.
We can stay here all night, or we can cut out a finger and go home and eat.
Yeah.
All right, let's go with 4.
And there's a famous quote by Walt Disney, who he said, using 5 fingers would have made Mickey Mouse's hands look like a bunch of bananas.
Okay, Walt. I don't know.
But another theory is that now it's like with the 3 fingers and 1 thumb, or 4 fingers on a hand instead of 5, it's an indication that that character is fantastical, that it's not a real human.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if you notice, it would be weird to see Aladdin or Snow White having only 4 fingers.
Yeah.
So in the original movie, the dwarves the original cartoon, the dwarves all have 4 fingers, and Snow White has 5 fingers. Because
she's a real human.
Right.
We're supposed to be.
Yeah. She's not fantastical like the dwarves are.
Right.
So, and then apparently in Japan, 4-finger cartoons, they always draw 5 fingers on it because there's a negative connotation of the numeral 4 in Japan.
Really? Oh my God. They have to go back in and draw them all? Oh man.
They have to edit it like when we send a cartoon over there, like I don't know,
Oh.
Family Guy or something. They have to put an extra finger on
Oh my God.
because
Oh.
there's such a the word for also it's close to the Japanese word for death.
Mm-hmm.
And then word for is also associated with the Burakumin caste, which is like was the lowest caste in Japanese society. And then also the Yakuza are known to cut off a finger as punishment.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
so
Well, AI can do that. They probably just put it through AI now. Just
yeah.
put 5 fingers on them. Go.
Just stick
Done.
another finger.
Yeah.
So now, John, you mentioned already. What we're going to do now before we end is I just want to, now that we know something about our hands,
Yes.
you and I are going to draw our left hands.
Oh God. This is not going to go well.
And see what it conveys about our minds.
Okay, I've got some paper as
You
I
got
was
some paper.
instructed.
All right.
And,
are you ready to go? We'll do
how
it.
much time do I have?
We're running out, so I don't know, just like a minute. Let's just do like a quick drawing
Jesus.
of our hands.
Okay.
All right. Are you going?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Okay.
All
right.
This is not going well.
No, it's not already. I'm kind of.
Oh boy. Okay, that one's longer. We've discussed that.
Imputicus there. Do you have a better appreciation of the hand?
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. This is not good.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
All right. Are you done?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and hold up your drawing, John. I'm holding up mine.
Oh, you're a better.
Look at yours. That's kind of like a turkey. It's
What's
like
going
a
on
moot.
with the nail on your thumb?
I don't know.
It
doesn't. It's not the real. Yeah, no. On my drawing, the thumb and the nail is coming off.
Yeah,
but it's obviously not that.
It looks like fungus.
You could have did a mutza. Yours is kind of like giving me the mutza. That's how you felt about it.
That's right. I gave you the mutza. I'm kind of happy with my thumb.
All right, so John, I hope you have a greater appreciation of the two little guys down at the end of your arms. We don't really appreciate them; we take them for granted, but they make us who we are. It's kind of like the Pina Colada song. You know what I mean?
Yes. It's like getting caught in the rain,
right? But just remember, when you're playing the piano, performing surgery, typing a letter, or giving somebody a hand job, you're essentially manifesting 55 million years of primate evolution, hand-brain evolution. So appreciate that.
Wow.
And then
a lot of time went into me doing a thumb war. Millions of years.
Think about that next time you're giving yourself something in the shower.
Yeah. In the shower? Don't do it in the shower.
Hypothetically.
Oh, God. You don't pee in there, too, do you?
No.
Oh, that's a yes.
You'll never trust me again. Before we go, John, I just want to take a moment to say a couple things. My wife's mother passed away before last, Esteline. And she was an amazing woman, funny, smart, tough. Her dad was a mechanic in a lumber mill back in the 30s and 40s, so she grew up around lumber camps. But she still managed to go to college and graduate from the University of Oregon. And she was someone who held women's rights and the power of education in high regard. And she was someone who truly enjoyed life. It's when you meet someone who just loves meeting other people and loves finding out about it. She always asked about you, John, even though she only met you once.
Yeah,
at our wedding.
That's right.
Actually, most of my family always ask, more than they ask about me.
Well, yeah.
I've run out of things to say about you.
I'm the good son. I'm the good one.
You know what I do now? I just borrow things from TV series and tell them that's what you. Right now, I'm going through Better Call Saul. I told him you're working for your brother's law firm and you're. And they're like, oh, that's so weird. Anyway, Esteline comes from the French name Estelle, which is short from Latin Stella, which means star. And Esteline was a star for a lot of people.
Yeah.
She will be missed.
Yeah.
I also want to give a shout out to our listeners, Cheryl, Tim, and Alex, who sent us photos of their Intro to Anthro friendship bracelet.
The Intro to Anthro bracelet. You can only get that if you get your suggestion picked on the show.
Well, they went to Puppies Not Piranhas, one of our sponsors.
Oh, right.
And ordered them.
You sons of bitches.
And
that's great. That's so
I love
great.
it. They picked out their own numbers. Why? It doesn't have to be sequential. They picked out their own numbers. So a big thank you to human number 27, human number 2112, which will mean something to you.
Yeah. Rush. We are the priests of the temple.
Yeah. Human number 2112 and human number 83. We'll retire those numbers from the intro to Anthro.
That's fantastic. I love that. I love that. That is so cool.
Yeah, it is. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Human number 2 signing off.
And I'm human number 1. Thanks for listening, everybody. Go out and do something with your hands, but don't get arrested.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Esteline. That was great.
Thanks. All right. Talk to you guys later. Love you guys.
Bye.